Hey everybody, today I'm going to be using the Real Brush Pro and the Pigment Real Brush Markers from Karin Markers to create a bunch of fall related sketchbook ideas basically. I have a variety of ideas here. Some are simpler, some are a little bit more advanced. Most of them, I'd say, are somewhere in between that. So the first one here is just a combination of different ideas, basically. We have a variety of different objects that I think are fall related. And so I started with this leaf here, and I'm using the 100% cotton watercolor book from Hanemühle. And it is not the perfect paper for these markers, but it works quite well. You will see later on I use another sketchbook that works much better with these markers. So it really always depends what paper you use, regardless of what art supply you're using. Try it on different types of paper because I promise you it's gonna make a big difference. And I'm using obviously a lot of orange colors, some brown tones, a few green tones here and there. I'm just really getting into the fall mood already. I'm also currently trying to finish the next course. I have 2 courses coming up, and one of them is a landscape that looks a lot like a fall landscape. It can be recreated at any time of the year, but it looks a little bit Halloweeny, so I'm trying to finish that before Halloween, hopefully in time, and then I will let you know more about that, obviously. But today I already have a lot of these very colorful, very cozy ideas. And I am, like I said, using 2 types of Karin markers. The ones that are more watercolor markers, if you want to call them that, so they really dissolve quite easily with water, especially if you, like I'm doing here, use the blender first and then on top you use the other one and then use the blender again. This way they work very smoothly, also on this paper. On other papers they are more easy to blend, but if you're using a lot of the blender or also add a lot of water, then you can also blend them. And I am also using the more acrylic type markers that they have, and I'm just using them together basically. The acrylic ones are a bit harder to blend, but they are opaque, so I can layer them on top of the other ones. And all of them, I think they really work well together, and that's something that I realized the last time I used them, and now I just can't stop using them together anymore. But all of the ideas today obviously can also be recreated with other types of materials. I'm also using, I believe I only used this one colored pencil. It's a dark purple colored pencil, and I will always try to link everything in the description box below. Make sure to check out the Karin markers. I've used them for such a long time. It's been years now. I have had an ongoing collaboration with them, and I always really enjoy using them. So definitely check them out. And you can see I did a few highlights here and there. This is a very stylized, simplistic style. I don't want to repeat the word style, but there's no other word for it, I think. And then on the left side, I did a somewhat similar style. The drawing on the left is really simple. It may look hard if you're a beginner, but I really encourage you to try this one because this one is a lot easier than it looks. I did a rather messy sketch with my colored pencil at first. It really doesn't matter that much because I cleaned it up quite a bit by coloring it, and also I don't mind it if it looks a little bit messy, but you can of course make your sketch look a lot more precise and a lot more nicer basically. But you can see that I am drawing a cupcake here, and I sort of made it pumpkin themed. Personally, I don't like anything that has pumpkins unless it is pumpkin soup, but I do like the aesthetic of such things. So personally, I imagine that this cupcake is more maybe vanilla flavored. I also dislike cinnamon, so everything that tastes like Christmas is a no from me. But I do like the way that these things look usually. I would say this is vanilla, and maybe also it has carrots in it. I could accept that. And then the pumpkin would probably be made of marzipan, which I, funnily enough, really, really love. I know a lot of people hate it, but this is what the cupcake, I think, would taste like. Also, maybe the topping, the icing has some strawberry or something like that in it. That makes none of these things are fall themed in any way, so that makes no sense with the aesthetic. It could also be pumpkin spice or something like that, but this is very easy. I just built up the lights and shadows over time and just took my time with that, and I really let me tell you that this one is so much easier than it looks. I really encourage you to do it, because if you get the proportions all wrong, it doesn't matter because it is just a dessert. Generally speaking, I think that anything that is food related or any types of fruits or vegetables are really easy to draw, because if you get them wrong, it doesn't really matter. You can just call it style. I know that my cupcake is a little bit wonky, but personally I don't mind. It is what it is. I also really like the colors. I like orange and purple in combination with each other. So even though this one was a really simple one, I really enjoyed drawing this one. And I've done a few cupcakes in the past, and I always really enjoy doing them. So this is the first page spread. I can't talk today. And for the next one, this is technically not in a sketchbook, but I've been wanting to try hot press watercolor paper for a long time now. I've actually never tried it, and I do a lot of things with watercolor, gouache, and these types of markers that also work really well on watercolor paper. So I've wanted to try it for quite a while. I bought this smaller block here. At first I thought that the paper is glued together like the regular watercolor pads that you get. With cold pressed paper, they're usually glued together if it's nice quality, but then I found out that it's actually not glued together. So it did warp quite a bit, and I would say that that's because of that. And I am definitely not used to this type of paper whatsoever. It felt like drawing on Bristol board in a way because it's so smooth, and I'm gonna have to try it with different types of supplies, but I thought that it would work well with the markers because it can handle the water, but it is still really smooth. So in theory, you should be able to get really nice details, and also with the colored pencil later on, it is easy to draw on if it's smooth. And I would say there's a bit of a learning curve here with this piece. There is a real trust the process type of thing going on. Halfway through, it doesn't look that nice. In the end, I think it turned out okay. My wife actually said that they really love this piece. So it is definitely up to your own preference, whether you like it or not. I think it's okay enough to put it in this video. I don't hate it. And it really took a bit to get there. I did a bunch of layering. So you can see that I am doing this pumpkin field, not to say pumpkin patch. I would say it's really a field, and usually pumpkins are scattered really randomly because you can't really control the way that they grow. So unlike other vegetables that grow often in perfect rows when you look at them on a field, pumpkins, they will be very random. So I made sure to spread them rather randomly to kind of give that image or impression. And I also walked past a few pumpkin fields in the area recently on my morning walks, and I think all of them have been harvested by now. So I am recording this right before it goes live in the midst of September. And all of the pumpkins have been harvested already. So we're really getting into the pumpkin season, and they're starting to appear in the shops everywhere. And then there's the Christmas stuff. Personally, I really like the aesthetic of fall, which is why I do one of these videos, I think, pretty much every year, or quite often at least. I really like these, even though orange is not one of my favorite colors, I really like these combinations and coming up with the cozy themes or with the spooky and magical ones is something that I really enjoy. Whereas with Christmas, I'm a bit more on the fence when it comes to that. I really have to make it work because personally, I dislike the combination of the colors red and green, and that is not a good starting point for when it comes to whether you like Christmas aesthetic or not. So usually I have to change the colors a bit in order for me to like it. I also don't really like anything that's overly glittery. So, and then you add the fact that I don't like the taste of cinnamon, and then you've got a real fun combination. But yeah, I am really excited that we're heading into the colder season now here, at least in Europe. In Australia, they're starting to get hotter and hotter, and the weather is the other way around. It's really insane when I talk to my Australian friends. But I have come to really appreciate the seasons here, because a few years back, if you'd asked me if I wanted to have summer all year long, I would have said absolutely yes, sign me up for that. But now, in the last few years, for some reason, it has shifted, and I've really been enjoying the calmer seasons when everything gets cozy. And now, recently, I've also been getting back into reading a lot, like actual physical books, not just audio books and stuff like that. So I really enjoy this time of year, also because everything's a bit quieter and calmer, and yeah, I just really enjoy that. So I hope that you also get something and some of those vibes out of this video and all of these ideas. And by the way, if you'd like a real-time tutorial of how to paint a pretty simple pumpkin, then make sure to check out my online art membership, the Cozy Creators Collective, because I somewhat recently did a tutorial on how to paint a pumpkin, and it is not edited, it is real time, and I talk you through the entire process. I used gouache and colored pencils for it, and it was really, really simple. I think it should be doable for a beginner, and it is not sped up like my videos. So I have a lot of classes in the membership already, and also I recently changed the price of the membership. It is now only half the price of what it used to be, because I also shifted the classes from weekly to bi-weekly. So now I know that all of you are very busy. Now it is a lot easier to fit it into your daily schedule because there's not that many classes, and I think it's still a good amount to keep you accountable to consistently create. And you can also pick from all of the past classes. There's, I think, 14 in there already that you can choose from. They're ranging from how to pick and mix colors, how to do lights and shadows and the different types of lights and shadows, several tutorials, some landscapes. We painted a bird with only 3 colors. Let's see, what else did I do? I did a lot. Loose florals. I did a piece on music where you can customize it and insert your own favorite songs. So there's a lot of stuff in there. And I have to remind you that the membership is not a YouTube membership. I will link it in the description box below. It is on the same website that my courses are on. And if you sign up for the free trial that still exists exists when I am talking about this. You get immediate access to everything, and also there's no strings attached. So you can check it out and confirm that it's the right fit for you, and then you can make your decision whether you want to stay long term. I hope that you do. I'm always happy to see new faces in there and really excited for all the upcoming classes. There's a lot of ideas that I still have. I want to do something about composition. I want to go more into depth with picking and mixing colors, maybe colors for gouache, because it is quite difficult to do that, and different types of art media that I still want to use in the membership. So I've talked about this. Now the piece is slowly taking shape and slowly reaching the point where I actually like it. So I added quite a bit with the one colored pencil, and this is the way that it looks now. It has to be pressed so it is more flat now because it warped quite a bit. But now we're moving on to this sketchbook here. This is a gray toned sketchbook. It is a very light gray color. This is probably my favorite. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite sketchbook right now. And this one works wonders with the Karin Markers. It doesn't matter if you're using the more watercolory ones or the acrylic ones. Both types work really well in this sketchbook. They blend nicely, they layer nicely, the paper has the right amount of texture, and I always find it really enjoyable with whatever I am painting with. And I really like the way that this one turned out as well, and this kind of honoring the fact that I am now getting into reading. I will at this point not mention what I'm currently reading because I don't want any input. I just finished the book All the Dead Lie Down, I think it's called, which is a little bit spooky. It definitely got me into the spooky season a little bit. I do not want to go too much into the horror genre because I do really enjoy sleeping, and I tend to have nightmares whenever I watch or read something that is too horror. But this book was okay in that sense. I would say it was written really well. It has a sapphic romance to it, and it is a really, really good book. But I'm also finished reading the 2 books from Lauren Graham, the Talking as Fast as I Can. I reread that one, and then the Have I Told You This Before that recently came out. I also just finished that. I will only mention the books that I already finished, not the ones that I am currently in the process of reading, because I want no spoilers and also nobody's input, if that makes any sense. But I might tell you about them once I have finished them. And here with this page, I decided on kind of a orange, green, and purple color scheme again. I think I kept the color schemes pretty consistent in this video. I really enjoy adding the purple to this. I think that it works really well with these colors. This is a really nice palette. The purple and the green are definitely staples in my style. I really enjoy that combination, and it really works well with the additional orange as well. Here I decided to make the cup a little bit darker. Definitely needed more contrast, and I really like the way that it turned out. The color of the cup, it looks really, really satisfying in a way, but I did a few details on top of it with the pigment real brush markers, and yeah, I really had a lot of fun with all of these. Let me know what you would like to see in the future, what types of videos you're interested in the most. I've done a lot of these sketchbook ideas recently, so I might do some simpler videos coming up, but I really enjoy all of these ideas videos. Again, make sure to check out Karin Markers and all of the stuff that I have linked in the description box below. And if you'd like to see more sketchbook ideas, then check out this video next.